listeners, last week we kind of had a throwback session. So I'm going to go a throwback whereby we had a discussion about growth in terms of the journey, the story, and we had a discussion with Natasha, and she was talking about just her journey of life in terms of, seeing how she's come through and coming into Croydon Vision and where she is now at. And I think the take back from last week was more about wherever you are, whatever you're doing, as long as you continue to grow, you become better. And that was kind of the takeout. So today, I have a beautiful lady with me, Josie. Gosh. And we are going to talk all things about how to work and be stronger together as women.
Love that.
I know, because it's such something whereby there's just this notion that women don't get on together and that they have to be
like Mean Girls,
competition and Mean Girls.
It's all Mean Girls' fault.
Exactly, it's all of those movies, and and so to me, I love how when women come together, oh my Lord, like what it can bring to society, it's amazing. And so we're going to have discussions about that, and also we're going to get to know Josie a bit. So Josie, I actually started to speak to Josie about a year ago now, actually.
And who introduced us? A powerful, beautiful woman.
Yeah, exactly. A lovely colleague of mine who I was in desperate need at the time, and I was like, can you help me? And she was like, there's someone I know who could help. And I was like, okay, thank you. And there you go again. That's the connection of beautiful women, isn't it?
It's magical.
Exactly. So, Josie, how are you doing?
I'm so good, because I'm in a different room to the ones that are in my house. And my husband's doing homeschool today, which is joy. So I want him to do really well and succeed, but also part of me wants him to find it incredibly hard and go, wow, how do you do this every day?
Yes.
It's a funny part of me, but no, I'm enjoying it. It's sunny as well.
Yes, it is. You definitely having a real spa day outside of your house today.
True spa day. I'm going to paint my nails while we talk. I hope you don't mind.
That would be cool. So, Josie, in terms of when you think about that title of Stronger Together, what comes to mind?
That's a great question. Now I'm wishing I had read them before. I asked not to read any questions.
That's not even in the question. That's just me spontaneously coming up with another one. Yes. Yeah. Or think on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Think on it. I'm sure as probably we go on.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's come back to it.
Yeah.
I find that quite interesting because this is just my initial thought.
Yes.
I rely quite strongly on myself to sort myself out, because I feel like if I ever get in a dark place, I rely on things like journaling and meditation.
Yes.
And going inside myself, and it's like, but actually, then I could just go on a walk with a friend, and it does the job far quicker, and I feel in a very different place. So I guess when I think about Stronger Together at the moment, it's in the evenings. I quite often go for like a brisk walk. It's my like designated exercise time.
Yeah.
I go for a walk around the common with a friend and just talk about, wow, stuff's a bit hard, and then just have a laugh.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, just being around people, it's so powerful. I'm one of those like do you like where I was like, I don't really know, and now I've started. I'm like, yes, okay, I know all these things. So I only learned relatively recently that about an introvert and an extrovert, and an introvert recharges their energy by being on their own.
Yes.
And an extrovert, I thought an introvert was a shy person, but apparently it's where you get your energy, right?
Yeah.
So an extrovert gets their energy from being around other people, and I was like, whoa, I am definitely an extrovert. I really don't do as well on my own as I do around other people. But that said, I love journaling. I think it's
I absolutely love journaling. Like I've been journaling for years, and absolutely, and I have a diary, which is a 5-year diary. And so when you just go back and you look at the years and what you said, and even just how you wrote things, and you're just like, wow, was I there? And compared, I love journaling. It's so therapeutic.
Yeah, and it does feel a little bit teenage while you do it, but then you come away and you're like, I know myself better than I did.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But also, when you speak of women, I also realised I was writing the same things, and then I look at the date and I was like, wait, that's the same time every month. Oh wait, it's hormones. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks, Josie. And by the way, Josie, to introduce Josie slightly a bit, so I think you're getting the hint of it, but she's a creative genius in a sense. So she talks from an angle of everything that has words that just buzz you in a sense, you know. And in talking about strong women and being stronger together, you're definitely one person that I can say you've made me stronger, so thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's good. I think that's something that we need to embrace and say to each other.
Love it.
You know,
yeah,
it's it's sort of, you know, it's only been a short period of time that I've known you, but every time I pick up the phone to talk to you, I come out, or even just the emails. Like the other day, you're talking about Canada. Ooh, homeschooling. I learned that Canada is. I'm just like, such an amazing lady you are.
You've got to share that fact now. You can't just like hint at that fact. Canada has the longest coastline of any country.
Yes.
In the
So
world.
imagine in the midst of my day, right, everything else that is going on, and then I get an email that says, "Oh, how's it going? Yeah, but you know, with everything I learned today, that Canada." And I was just like, Josie.
You've got to be glass half full. Like homeschooling's hard, but I'm learning stuff.
Yeah.
But
no,
no,
it's good.
Do you know what? When you say about phone calls, my husband came downstairs the other day. And he was like, "Who were you on the phone to just then?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it was a work call." And he was like, "What? It sounded like you were on the phone to one of your family members." I was like, "Yes, who's that?"
Oh, bless you.
Anyway,
So
we have an infectious laugh.
yeah. So there's a saying that the biggest enemies of women are other women judging and dismissing each other's choices. What would you say about that?
My experiences, and maybe I've been lucky enough to meet nice women, or maybe I have a natural tendency to swerve people who are insecure and take things out in a negative way on other people. But no, I think women are amazing to each other.
Yeah.
I think recently, having had children, I've got 3 boys, and I've made the best friends having children with people. And I think, you know, when you're a teenager and your body's changing and you need to have close friends because you're like, is your body doing this as well? And like, have you got hair here? And you know, you know, all those things.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, I need to be really open with you, and I've got to share this stuff because I've got to know if this is okay.
Yeah.
And having children is the same. It's like, are your boobs doing this? And I don't know, is this normal? And like, are you okay not having any sleep either? And it's like, no, I'm not okay. And then you're like, great. So I feel like just, having women in your life, wow, it's crazy important. And there are women who denigrate each other, and like, why do you do that? It comes from insecurity, doesn't it? In every case. It's like, what's happened to you that you have to do this? I'm so sorry.
And I think also on the flip side to that, when women who say things to you like that, if you just apply a little bit of grace to say, okay, there's underlying reasons to this, how can I help then? Rather than become defensive and say, how dare you say that to me? You know, which is sort of the default response, isn't it? Whereby sometimes you actually have to go try and connect with them in ways and say, you know, I think there are things, because if you're secure in yourself and you love you and, you know, you want to add value to other people.
100%.
You want to love other people and you want to just embrace other people.
Yeah.
So, that word insecurity does have a big part to play into it.
It does. But you're right, Grace. Grace is the perfect way of putting it. Like, find the nice bits in people, and if you can't work out why they're not coming to the front, and then help if you can. I think that's a really good point. Grace. Let's all embrace some grace.
Let's embrace grace. Yes, yeah. And I think that kind of leads to, what do you say? What do you, when you catch women who talk themselves down, you know, what do you do?
Well, I don't know. There's a natural is it an English thing of being like self-depreciating? I don't even think it's just women. Like, how good are you at taking a compliment? I'm trying to teach my children this. How do you take a compliment in a way? I don't think I'm very good at it either.
You just did.
Well, I know. I've been working on it.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think there is a natural tendency to be modest, and modesty is one of. I think it's the worst. I don't know. I'm not into modesty. I'm quite celebrate yourself. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't show it. There's a fine line. Me and my husband were talking about this actually with our children. Like, we want them to be confident without being that guy that you're like, ooh,
yes,
no, thank you.
Yes.
I've taken it in a weird tangent. Wait, let's go back to the question. What was it?
So when you hear women or anyone talking down on themselves, you know, how does that make you feel, and what do you tend to do about it?
I think I'm pretty on the nose about things, and I'm not very good at being tactful. And I would quite often go, yeah, but that's a load of rubbish, isn't it? If somebody says something about this, that's like, come on, do you really believe that?
Yeah.
No. And I'm not that good at being a I looked for a while into trying to get a qualification as like a therapist, because I thought I'd really enjoy that. And then the description of being a therapist was like, you just have to be a mirror. Just let somebody, let them bounce themselves off you and just see it. And I was like, I don't think I'd do very well at that. I'd be like, try doing this.
Josie,
go on.
There is a great book that I think I'm going to present you with. It's called, and it'll be good because it actually helped me with not just my daughter but everyone else around me, in the sense of it's called How to Talk So Kids Could Listen, and Listen So Kids Will Talk.
My sister-in-law mentioned this book to me.
Is
it magical? She was like,
it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, I know what I'm gonna. Yes, I'm.
Ding!
Yes.
Maybe I'll turn my phone onto silent.
Okay, so the question, what I wanted to ask as well actually is, how do you mirror this in your life? So, because it's very easy to see other people and say this, isn't it? How do you mirror it in your life?
How do I talk positively about myself?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
Brilliant.
See how I did it just then?
Yeah, that's cool.
No, a friend of mine taught me the phrase virtue signaling the other day. Have you ever heard that? I'd not heard of it. I think it's like a vaguely millennial kind of phrase, and it's about like just mentioning in passing something you do that's really good. She was like, well, you're the best at virtue signaling, which isn't necessarily a compliment, but obviously I took it as one. But no, I don't know. I haven't got a lot of time for being kind of self-depreciating.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. But I think
it doesn't serve you.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think also though, it's to me, I've come to a place to say it's okay to not be okay.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and there's all this talk about being positive thinking, and to me, I actually focus more on intelligence than positive thinking, because wherever someone is at, walk a journey with them. As long as they don't get stuck there.
Okay, yeah.
Walk a journey with them.
That's empathy, isn't it? You're so into empathy. You can just irradiate it. It's nice. It's nice to be around.
What are the 3 qualities that you so admire about yourself?
Oh my gosh. Energy.
Yeah. You have an oomph of energy, definitely.
Thank you. I don't know. I think it's almost a bit much sometimes. Like I know I said I wouldn't be self-depreciating, but I'm not very good at, if I see something I'm like, I could do that. I'm not very good at going, yeah, but I haven't really got time to do that now. Or like, yeah, but maybe I could do something. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. It's like a compulsion, you know, and if I'm lying in bed, I'm like, I could go back to sleep, or I could do yoga. And it's like, yeah, but maybe it would be good to have a bit more sleep. And it's like, no, I've had that thought now, so I've got to go.
But actually, that is that's something people always say, that I measure it. If I stay more than 20 minutes in bed and the thought is still there, get up and just get on with it.
Just go.
Because it's a waste of time. You're not going back to sleep.
Oh my god. Well, I'm not a brilliant sleeper actually, and I was talking to this lady I know about it, and she was like, no, I wake up in the night And if I wake up, I know I'm not going to be asleep again for an hour, so I go and make a lasagna and put it in the freezer. Can you imagine?
How many lasagnas you made?
This is what I was thinking.
Exactly.
I did that every night.
Wow, that's brilliant.
She's like Garfield.
Exactly,
Lasagna
the
every day.
movie. Yeah, exactly.
But using time, she's using her time. You know, she's really.
Yeah.
And it's probably quite therapeutic for her. Put radio 4 on, go through your emotions.
Wow.
I know.
I'll go eat and then go back to sleep.
Would you? But then you put loads of energy in your body, don't you? What do you eat?
There's an amazing thing when you know you've got to go nowhere, right? And then your body clock wakes you up and you're like, no, I want to go back to sleep.
Yeah, no.
I can go eat. And then
what do you eat?
Anything that fills me up.
Okay.
And then somehow I would read a book that probably bores me.
Good.
And I'll sleep.
Wow.
Probably not bore me, but not probably as interesting
Okay.
as one that I know will bring like, woo, get your
yeah.
notebook out. And
So is it a fiction? Does it have to be a fiction book that you read?
I'm not really. I'm more. I love reading biographies and and sort of like leadership books. That's sort of what I tend to read. But sometimes I will. Yeah, there's probably a book that I haven't fully finished yet.
Yeah,
that's the one
that's dragging.
That's dragging. That would probably be the one I take. So, qualities about yourself.
Sorry, so we've got energy.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we got? I'd say positivity. I think that's a slightly different thing. I think you could have a lot of energy and not use it and feel positive.
Yeah.
And maybe curiosity.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm slightly stealing that one from my husband because he is more naturally curious than me. Like we'll finish a film and then he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go and find out what that director's done and like when he wrote that, where was it? You know, he'll be like, did you know? He just has that naturally very inquiring mind, which I really like, and and my children kind of have it as well. It's really cool. Like
so it's
I think all
enough
children.
for you now.
What's that? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'd like to think that. I feel like he'll listen to that and go, "You're not curious. I'm the one who is," and then I tell you the stuff. But
right.
that's okay. I think that's an important one to have. Otherwise, you're just inert, aren't you? You're just staying still.
Yeah.
I can't steal that. I've realised I'm more social. I'm sociable.
You
I can't take curiosity. That belongs.
No,
to
but you
someone else.
are. I could say you are because you ask questions. You want to know. You're intriguing.
Yeah.
So you are.
But I'm more sociable than I'm curious.
Okay.
I gotta
You know,
say.
I said 3, but you could go on if you
No.
wanted. Okay.
Can you imagine the ego? And I'm this, and I'm this. No.
We did a session here, our last Bright Ideas Day actually, and it was 20 points of I am.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah, what will be your first?
Well, I've just said them. I'm energetic.
Yeah.
So I'm sociable.
Yeah.
No, I'm positive.
Yeah. It's actually quite good. I know it's for some people, and that's the other thing, because it was like a soul searching thing, because for some people it was almost as if they just thought about the negatives as you know, or what someone else had said about them, or you know, and I was just like, and it was interesting because I didn't have an issue writing 20. Actually, I was struggling to find how to make 20. You know, not because I'm being arrogant, but it's because I think I've walked on a journey where I know me.
Yes.
And then so when people were struggling, I had to think, okay, so go to them, and how then can I walk and help them to understand there I am, who they are as a person.
Well, you were saying before that's your why, isn't it? Helping people work themselves out.
Exactly.
I love that.
It's transforming lives with intent and purpose. Yeah, so it's that element. Okay,
Lovely.
so Josie.
Yes.
Over the last 5 years, how do you think you've changed?
I've had children.
Now that is a that is a good one. Sorry. Oh my! You just made me laugh.
Comedy podcast. I've had some children. Yeah, I don't know. I look at and I see like who've maybe just had their first child, say, and I'm like, well, oh, in fact, we watched an episode of The American Office where they just had a baby, and it's like the worries they've got are just like, what? Oh my gosh! And I don't even know how to describe it, because I don't want to belittle it, because it's a journey and it's you've got to go through that bit. But it's like, whoa, gosh, I've changed quite a lot since then.
Yeah. And your kids are, how old are they again?
They are 2, 5, and 8.
Wow, that is some age.
Are,
well done.
They are fun. They're really. I could not be more proud of them. I really. Love them to pieces, as every parent says about their children. But yeah, I think I feel like it's been a bit of a privilege being able to.
You go a bit of an up and down with that as the years go on. I can be very real and say that, you know.
I'm glad.
You do, and then you get to a place where you instill and you invest in them, and then you start to see the fruits of it. So it's lovely, those ages, and then there are some ages where you definitely sometimes wake up and you go like, why did I actually give birth to you?
I look forward to that.
But then it challenges you to become better.
Yes. And well, my husband's aunt said every age is better than the last one, which so far I can kind of see where she's getting at. Like the more fun they are, the older they are, the more you can joke with them and stuff. But I don't know.
There's an age where you get the one sentence or one word, and it's like, how are you doing? Fine. But I think you'll be really good at that. Curiosity will flow in more so, because then they'll be intriguing and finding ways to connect, and I think that's what it's about. It's not letting it. I think sometimes when people reach to that place with their kids, they have a tendency of saying, let's just leave them. Let them be.
Them anymore.
But actually, that's when you should even want to know them more and find ways to connect with them more, because even though sometimes they will not want to, there's those windows of opportunities, and you can just embrace it and take it.
It's really funny. My dad, I always really wanted to be around my dad. I wanted to talk to him. And it's because he was always really switched on about things, and he always had interesting opinions, and I wanted to know what he thought, or like what music he was listening to, because he stayed really relevant throughout his whole life.
Exactly. That's the key word. Relevant. Yeah. So Josie, what would you tell your 13-year-old self?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how. What's the name of that? There's a guy called Watts, is his surname. Is it David Watson? He's into Taoism, and I listened to a podcast by him, and he was talking about how we think about life as a journey regularly, and that it has a start and it has an end, and you move from one to the other, and that's what you do. And at every point, you're looking to the next, and you're hoping to achieve things, and as you go. And he was saying, how about you try something different, and you think about music. Each note isn't setting up for the next note, it's just to be enjoyed as you go through it. And it's not that the end of the piece of music is the best bit, or the bit you were always meant to get to, it's just where it finishes. And I was thinking about that in terms of my 13-year-old self, and like the whole point is, the whole of life is like a dance, isn't it? So saying like, now do this step, no, you're just gonna have to experience it. So not that I'm dobbing out of the question.
I'm still waiting for the answer. Come on, Josie.
Come on, David Watts won't say it now.
Where's a picture of your 13-year-old
Oh my gosh, I did bring one. It's over there.
Okay, all right.
I felt like a slightly cumbersome teenager, and I was not very confident as a teenager. Actually, I was very shy, and partly I think because my mum always used to go, "She's really shy."
Okay.
In front of me to strangers, so I'm very careful not to do that now.
You have some of that in you, though.
Shyness.
You do. It's just the sociable and all of that kind of overflows it, but there is elements of that. You can definitely.
a bit like watchful, do you mean? Or like, oh really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Still got it. Still got that shyness. My mum told
But
me about.
probably not to deter you from doing things in that sense. It's just it's more skills to be observant when you need to be, and assess when you need to.
That's funny you say that. I spotted that in my son the other day. Like, he's watchful, and then when he sees what's going on, that's when he jumps in and knows where he fits.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So
what advice would I give to my 13-year-old son? I didn't give myself any advice yet, did
I?
Yes,
exactly.
Gee whiz. I think
you
chill out.
Us a little bit about chill out will be a good one.
I think it's like nobody's really that bothered about you. Chill out. It's like, oh no, if I wear this, it's like, no, nobody's looking. They're all bothered about themselves. Everyone's a teenager.
It's true.
Yeah.
I actually did say that to my daughter at one point. I said to her, and she's like, oh mom, what about this and what about that? And I said, you're all at the same place.
Yeah.
Whatever you're struggling with must be going through the same thing. If only you can talk to each other, you will come to realize that you're actually stronger and better together than in that sense. And so it's amazing how you can then look at yourself and go, right.
Sorry.
So I had other questions in the sense of stronger together. We're going to move on, and I think there's a statement that I saw which is saying, behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back.
Oh yes, I love that. Do you know what? Strangely, I was quite close to my mum when I was younger, but then my parents separated and we kind of drifted apart, and I think while I was a teenager, I don't think she just didn't have the headspace to be able to kind of support me in the way that I probably would have needed. But I had some really good friends at school, and then since I've had babies, I have really good friends now. I like some of the best groups. Yeah. One of the best kind of tribes of women behind me now that I've had in my life. So I think in lockdown, for example, and through homeschooling and aging, like you need to have good friends as you get older, don't you?
It's healthy.
Yeah.
It's really healthy, because what you're describing is almost like having that holisticness of life, whereby you can bounce off each other and I think that's a healthy thing to have.
I read a really good, it's non-fiction, it's fiction I'm afraid, but I read a really good book called Expectations last year about women being friends, and actually the main characters didn't strike that much of a chord for me, but one of the mums had a tribe of women that she was friends with, and they'd all been protesters together and chained themselves to trees and stuff. Right. But just the description of their friendship was like, oh gosh, I want that when I'm an old lady. I want to sit around a scrubbed wooden table and be like cackling and wear really eccentric clothes and I want to be that one. Have some big dogs and walk them.
Josie, right, listen, I'm gonna ask you two questions about getting to know you, right?
Oh gosh.
What is your favorite food?
Do you know what? I have a real thing about 3:00 every afternoon. I have a cup of tea and I either have a biscuit or some cake or just something
You're a
sweet.
serious British woman.
I'm so British.
You're so
Never
British.
my cup of salsa. That is like ritual for me.
Is
and
it?
I mean, to the extent that my boys are indoctrinated in it, and they'll be like, "Is it tea and biscuit time?" And I'll be like, "Yes, it is."
Dunk it.
Of course
You
I
dunk
do.
it.
I need to dunk it. And my boys are now as well, so they won't drink tea.
Yeah.
But they'll have a biscuit and they'll dip their biscuit in my cup of tea.
Cool.
So I don't think that is my. I mean, I can't. Can I just have all biscuits and cakes?
Yeah, bring it on. Love cakes. Yeah. Okay. And so, what are your top 5 songs?
Here we go. Okay, I'm ready for this because my brother did a Desert Island Discs a few years ago at Christmas, and he made. I can so recommend this. We all had Christmas dinner together because it's our family, and remember when that used to happen. And he made a playlist of everybody's songs and shuffled them, and we all had to guess as we were going, oh, whose song is this? And then it was so nice.
Yeah.
The first one is Ballerina by Van Morrison, and that is to do with my dad because he was a big Van Morrison fan. And I can't remember quite. He did tell me like a few times, every time he listened to this song, it always made him think of me. He was a surgeon and he used to listen to music as he was operating. Yeah. And he was like, oh, every time this one comes on, I have to get them to turn it because I find it really distracting. This is going to be a little bit, but the Beethoven, the Pastoral Symphony, which is the 6th symphony, and it's the one that's like rolling countryside, like early morning, really gentle, and it's very countryside. Right. Puts me in such a nice place. And I grew up in Sheffield, which is right on the outskirts of like beautiful rolling dramatic hills, and like that's my spiritual home. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Being in
we should take you to Kilimanjaro.
They're similar. Outskirts of Sheffield, Kilimanjaro, it's basically the same landscape. Right. I love the offer though.
Next one.
I was excited to go into Croydon, so Kilimanjaro is yes please. I'd like to go anywhere that isn't my house. Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel, because right before I got married, I used to go running quite a lot. Just trying to get my head around like, oh, what am I doing? In a joyful way. Yeah. And that's a really good song to run to. And after we got married, we went to Salisbury Hill. And I was like, whoa, it felt like full circle. Right before we went to Glastonbury, my husband and I. Right. And it was like real time of freedom. Yeah. Golly, like, you've just got married, you haven't even got any kids. You're like, yes, I'm part of the team. But I haven't got any huge responsibilities yet. Although I didn't really appreciate it at the time, I think. My next one.
It's always the case though, isn't it?
Yeah, you do.
Alright, your next song.
Feliz Navidad. It's a Christmas song.
Yeah.
My Lada by Jose Feliciano. And anyway, my last one is Uptown Funk, Mark Ronson.
What's it called?
Uptown Funk.
Oh, Uptown. Yeah.
My 2-year-old has just learned to. We have an Alexa in the kitchen, and he just comes in and goes, Alexa, Uptown Funk. And obviously he's less able to enunciate. And oh my gosh, it is on all of the time. So at the moment we all hate that song, but you know in a couple of years we'll be like, oh, do you remember when Milo used to do that? That was so good. And he dances around like, he's got some moves. And that is the big family song for us at the moment. So
cool.
There you go.
Josie, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I think I got this quote which I wanted to end and it says, here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them.
Oh, love that. Yes, please.
Yeah. So thank you, listeners.